Hey, Gloucester Township. I'm Joe Allen here with Keith Gibbons and Gracie.
Yep.
This is the Restore GT Podcast for November 5th. Man, we've got 2 days till Election Day.
2 days, and we're recapping something that happened like 2 weeks ago at this point. It's feel like we've been so busy with other things that we didn't get to this, so we apologize, guys.
Yeah, it was busy the first week. Sick the second week.
Yeah. You were almost pronounced dead, I think.
Yeah,
twice.
I've got a little bit of voice left. We last minute we're like, I think I can pull this thing off.
Yeah,
so we're gonna try. If I duck off screen on the floor,
he's hacking up.
I'll be back.
He's got frogs in his throat.
Basically, Gracie will step in. This is the October 22nd council meeting. This was I think we both missed this one. I actually watched from home.
Yeah, I was out. I was not able to attend. Phillies were in the playoffs at that point, and I was out. You were out.
That didn't go the way we thought it was going to go, did it?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was. When he wasn't even thinking about not making it to the World Series. It was already kind of like, because I think people had tickets before the series before, and with Arizona, it was like, I'm gonna wait. If I'm really gonna buy tickets, I'm gonna buy tickets next week. Never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we still got the Eagles.
Anyway, we council meeting. Like I said, October 22nd council meeting this was off of the previous council meeting. The big topic at the previous council meeting was the Giselle Brown.
Giselle Brown and the unsafe parking lot.
The violation of our First Amendment rights. Yeah. If you guys saw on our channel, it wasn't a podcast, but there was different videos I did with Denise Coyne in front of the municipal building, basically outlining how they just violated our First Amendment rights by telling the police, go out there and arrest people if they're to put flyers on people's cars because someone felt unsafe. And it's unfortunate that person felt unsafe, but their feelings do not trump our First Amendment rights.
Yes. And it goes back. Yeah, feelings, policies. None of them
right.
trump your rights.
Yeah. So
that got the attention of a gentleman who we had on the podcast, Patrick Duff.
Patrick Duff that was here
after that council meeting. We had Patrick Duff come in, and he did a talk, and he said, "You know, guys, I'm going to be at your council meeting." So I was looking forward to seeing this council meeting, but some other stuff happened during this council meeting, so we're gonna do some recaps on that.
Yeah. First, there was a land transfer of some point, something that happened back in the 80s, apparently. Somebody purchased a piece of property for $2,000 or something like that, and they never got the deed for it or something, so it had to be researched and all this stuff. So people are just wondering, like, hey, that was 40 years ago. Like, what?
Yeah.
How did you transfer this and no one ever knew about it? So anyway, we could play that clip one, right?
Yep.
We don't have any audio here.
For a property that apparently was sold via tax sale for $2,000 back in 1983. And the owner never got the deed for the property, if I'm reading this correctly. And in the title of the resolution, it says it's for block 19502, lot 16. And lot 16 doesn't exist. So then in the body of the document, 4th paragraph down,
lot 26, correct?
it says 1952, 19502, lot 26, which is what I believe to be the correct block and lot number. And then in the last paragraph, it says that they are discussing block 18502, lot 16, which belongs to 34 Farmhouse Road, which is a totally different property owned by the Fredericks. So after 50 some years, I still don't think this guy's getting the deed to his property.
The deed wasn't recorded as property, is that correct, Mr. Carpenter?
That's what it says.
I think what happened, he purchased that, the deeds are sent to the successful bidder in a sense, and then his obligation is to send it for recording. And my sense is, and speaking with his attorney also, is that he probably didn't pay whatever might have been any recording fees properly, or he just didn't realize it had to be recorded. So that's the circumstances. We researched it. It's clear that he did purchase it. The receipt was signed by the then business administrator. And everything shows that he was a successful bidder, paid the necessary fees to the town. Deed was prepared and drafted. He just never recorded.
Those errors there in the lot, Mr. Carpenter.
Yeah, we'll correct those. It is 19502 lot 26.
Lot 26. So when he had that on the consent agenda, we'll amend that to like block 19502 lot 26. Let me go to consent.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm sure the owner will thank you.
She knows too much.
She knows too much.
She knows too much.
So the level of incompetency after 50 years of this guy not having it recorded properly, they still don't have it recorded properly. She points it out to him, and they're like, "Oh no, that's oh man, you can't
They
make this
found
stuff
that
up."
deed under my. It was underneath my yard sale permit. that's what that
Oh, here it is, right here. Yeah, we
Joe can have
forgot
his
to
yard
do
sale
that.
now at Christmas.
Oh man.
That was it. That was it. Before for first public portion, eGov was up next, and first eGov question was yeah. We'll go into the eGov question here.
Yeah, let's play it first. Man, what's going on with this?
Muriel, seeming each month I see council celebrating accomplishments of various underserved, diverse groups, and it's greatly appreciated to see that recognition. I have, however, noticed the police department doesn't seem to share in that. Specifically, with regard to Women in Law Enforcement Day, the chief neglected to highlight any of the exceptional female officers in the township on their social media pages. Other departments made it a point to recognize their employees. It's disheartening, especially when you see posts that have endless photos of the chief from every angle. Aren't there more officers than the chief that make up our wonderful police department? What does council think about the obvious disparity between selfishly promoting the chief, but not for one day, our great female officers? My personal thought that all of our employees should be recognized. That may have been an oversight on the police department. I think the chief does a wonderful job of recognizing all of his employees. This was forwarded to the chief. Deputy Chief, are you aware of this as well?
I am, if I may speak.
Yes.
So we did try and contact that person today by phone with no answer, unable to leave a message. And just personally speaking, that did fall under my command at one time. Our Community Relations Bureau and with the social media is a very time-consuming and a lot of effort is put into that. And yes, it probably was an oversight. We have yet to speak with those commanders. We want to thank them for bringing that to our attention, and we'll certainly look at that for future years. And I know we've celebrated that in the past as well.
So yeah, that I believe that the person that sent that in is confusing who the chief is with maybe the mayor or maybe Orlando.
I don't know.
Or
I was trying to think. Like I follow Gloucester Township Police on Facebook and Twitter, and I was like, I don't recall seeing the chief. Huh? X. Yeah, X.
That's not Twitter.
And the new free Twitter. So I went back. I scrolled through every post of from Gloucester Township Police to see like how much chief compared to like.
Yeah, I don't recall if I really ever seeing like Chief's not on there often at all.
No, I think.
And you proved it out, right? You went back in time. And you're like,
the Gloucester Township Police post a lot. You know, there's the like nightly that almost. I feel like there's every couple nights there's a lock your car post. There's tons of posts from Gloucester Township Police. And I think the chief was in there when the chief is up speaking at some kind of public event. They got pictures of the chief up there. But, man, it's not
overwhelming as the way
it's not overwhelming. No,
there.
it's not chief. And then I remember the female officer that retired.
Yeah,
McLaughlin,
I think.
She was heavily celebrated. And they do. You know, I've seen pictures recently of some of the female officers that they have, and I thought, man, it's not unbalanced there. Well, I mean, the police department in general, and all police departments in general, are generally like unbalanced with male to female. That's just generally how it is. There's not that many female police officers, so to think that you're going to see an equal ratio, I was like, then. You know,
it's unrealistic.
If you do an equal ratio of like female officers to male officers, there's gonna be a lot of male officers that don't get any kind of. So, I went through it. And I was like, I think that was pretty unfounded. But
either way,
just one of those things, one of those perception things, I guess. The next thing up was that's a topic here.
Yeah, so it was from Brittany Woods, which. That dates back probably to the beginning of this podcast. It's probably almost 2 years ago. Close to that. Then when we started this, where I know we had Denise Coyne on as one of our first, guests. We weren't in this studio. We were at another, location. We were doing that, but this goes back that far. Not going to get into all the details of it, but basically there was a developer that came in that was going to remodel some of the low-income units that were in Brittany Woods. A whole controversy around it. Not going to get into it, but basically one of the residents from those units is now claiming, hey, they did a really shoddy job putting my apartment back together. They displaced me from my home for, X amount of time, and things aren't what they promised, kind of thing. So why don't we play that? Is it clip 3? I think.
Our next is from Nora Huff of 58 Yorkshire Road, Sicklerville. I have a question regarding the redevelopment of Brittany Woods. Initially, we were told that we would receive upgraded appliances and other upgraded materials such as windows, doors, and paint. However, none of these upgrades were made. The appliances are not working properly. The windows were replaced with cheaper windows, and one window has already fallen out. The apartment was not painted. There is only primer on the walls. Additionally, there are electrical issues, so no more than one appliance can be used at a time. For example, if I turn on the microwave, a different appliance will go out. It seems the electrical box may need to be upgraded to supply ample voltage for appliances. The dishwasher also does not work properly. Members of the construction crew mentioned that the original plans and appliances were swapped out for less expensive options because they ran out of money because of that lady's apartment. I'm not sure what that means, but that is what I was told. We also had a storage unit that has since been locked, and we were told it was no longer available to us. We were never informed that the storage would be not available to us. We lost square footage on the inside and the use of outside existing storage. We were told that there would be a fine by the township if we use that storage. I would like to see documentation pertaining to this information regarding the storage. I would like to address these issues with City Council directly, given that the plans for redevelopment were approved and overseen by the City Council.
See, that sounds pretty crazy because the developer that was going to do this work didn't necessarily ask for money, but they did ask for tax breaks.
No, not necessarily.
Right.
They claim that they did not ask for tax breaks. So with this, I mean, we can go down a whole rabbit hole with this if you want.
They didn't get the tax breaks, but they did ask for the abatements, I think it was, right?
From what I recall, they said flat out in the meeting they are not asking for any tax breaks. What they didn't come out and say it, but they, in a roundabout way, said it. There was concessions that needed to be made around things like putting in a clubhouse, or I forget what the exact words were, like a community center type of thing. It's a commercial building on land that's residential, land type of thing. They also needed a playground, and all these different things that they were asking for were so that they could get funding that was like a no interest type of a funding thing. Along with that, they also had to break out this section of Brittany Woods, which would make it its own like development kind of thing and not be part of Brittany Woods, which part of our master plan says that if you're going to have affordable housing, it can't be segregated and made its own thing. It's supposed to be inclusive so that no one knows that it's low income. However, in this particular case, they're saying, hey, like put neon lights up over here, like this section right here, this is the low income section. And we approved that. We approved, our council approved to say, yep, this little new signed area of Brittany Woods is the low income thing. So it's completely labeled as such. Part of that also had to do with a letter that was found from the developer to the township that was not disclosed. It was in a OPA request. It was kind of found in there saying that a tax abatement is like key to us having this whole thing go through.
Yeah.
But they came out and said to the public, we are not seeking a tax abatement or a pilot or anything like that. We're just doing this to, up your numbers for the affordable housing.
Right, it was going to extend it.
Right, and it was like for, I think we're on round 3 right now, like for like what we need for the state requirements thing. But this was already included in round 1, so it really doesn't include. It's a whole long. We can go down a whole rabbit hole with this whole thing. But
several people that questioned this were heavily criticized.
Oh yeah. I was called a racist and everything else because I questioned. I didn't. I did a podcast about it. Somebody else questioned a council member saying,
"We talked about
you live literally right next door. What is this going to like? Should you not exclude yourself from this?" And then she was called a racist because she, questioned that.
I was not.
You were not. No, you weren't running for anything at the time. I don't think.
I thought it was going to come up this year.
Don't give them any ammo, Joe. They got 2 days left or so.
2 days left. Yeah, but now I can point the finger and go, "Told you, shouldn't have got involved."
Right.
Bad developer. Yeah, shouldn't have got involved.
Yeah. So anyway, no. Well, and to be fair, so Denise Coyne, who's on this podcast many a times with being in clips, took it upon herself to go out. Well, so this particular person that sent the eGov in, she had spoken to Denise at one of a previous meeting and learned that she could actually send this question in versus like going up there and asking them. And she kind of got all of her ducks in a row and asked the question. But Denise went out to her house to go visually see what her issues, were. And she didn't find exactly the same thing that the lady was describing. There was definitely there was no paint on the walls, like she said. There were things that were that were true. Other things she believed to be a little bit misunderstood. From that there. But either way, that happened. But when people send these eGov questions in, they have questions around things, and their questions don't always get answered right away. So, in the last meeting, Dina Hendry, another regular at meetings, asked a question about Blue Wire Media and wanted to know what their contract was because she had some sort of an issue that related to the company that we pay close to whatever it is, $7,000 a month for hosting our website, and she wanted to know.
So they do quite a few things, I guess. They do the township's website. They also they're also involved in doing some of the recordings, I think, for the commercials.
Right. Well, that's not part of their contract, though. I don't know. I think she did get the contract, and there might have been certain things that were included in it. But you're right. There's certain that recycle commercial you have. Blue Wire Media does that commercial.
$40,000.
However, it's not part of the $7,000 a month that we pay them. But so she just wanted to know what that was, and it was like she'd never heard back. And this goes to the point of we've gone over this dozens and dozens of times where people go there and ask a question, like, I'll get back to you, and they never get back to you. So Dina's holding her feet to the fire and saying, I asked you for this. What's the delay? It's pretty simple. And so here we go with those clip 4, right?
And our last question is from Tina Hendry, 89 Lamppost Lane, in Summerdale. At the September 25th meeting, I made a request during the initial public portion for a copy of the contract from Blue Wire, and I was explicitly assured that I would receive the requested document. I must emphasize my mounting frustration and disappointment due to significant delay in delivering the requested information. How much longer must I continue this seemingly endless waiting game for information I'm rightfully entitled to receive? I am tending to question the recurring pattern of delayed or withheld information. This lack of transparency, unresponsiveness, and failure to act in a timely manner is not only unacceptable, but also entirely unprofessional. I ask for immediate resolution to this matter. I insist on receiving the requested contract with any further delay and seek an explanation for the repeated delays in fulfilling this straightforward request. I believe when this request was made, Mr. Cardis has indicated he would provide that to Ms. Hendry, and Mr. Cardis has that to provide to Ms. Hendry this evening. Is that correct, Mr. Cardis?
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, would he have that though? If
And the second part, why was there a delay, Mr. Cardis?
The requests have been made to the clerk's office, where retention of records are, and that's where the.
where's our clip for that?
So at the end of the meeting, if you can give that to Ms. Hendry, I'd appreciate it. She's sitting in the back.
I don't know how we get back to it.
What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
That's our Cardis clip.
That's our Cardis. Just hanging around.
Huh? Who, me?
Apparently the
Why was it delayed?
request
Me?
was made to the clerk, and then something was muttered after. I don't really know what was said, but apparently Dina made the request to the clerk, and then it goes through a black hole.
The answer is I was too busy. I have 7 jobs in town that I need to control all this stuff.
He might have been in Pine Hill that day. Maybe
that's true.
He was probably working in Pine Hill that day, or he's is he like a firefighter now too? A police,
might
is he
be.
a police
Who knows?
officer, firefighter. He's an EMT. I think
EMT?
also now.
Who
Yeah,
knows?
he does. I think
A little bit of everything.
He does. I think he drives the senior bus too. So
There might be a pension involved with that. I don't know.
So
Who knows?
she got her information, I guess.
Yeah.
And we don't really know why it was.
It wasn't. It was delayed because you don't deserve it. You're a peasant that, we're not going to give you what you asked for. It's not your information.
Or he fell asleep halfway through Dina's question.
Yeah, that. All right, so the next clip that we have has to pertain to the
there was a long thing before this.
Okay, go ahead.
This big long neighbor dispute, and this probably took up a half hour of the council meeting. It was a big long neighbor dispute.
Yeah.
You go back and watch the meeting. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know
So, unfortunately, this is not the first time that I've seen this exact dispute with these exact people.
They were at a county meeting, right?
Yeah, there was a county meeting that actually is we have the exclusive. We have the only footage of that on the internet right now because they pulled it because of a question that was asked. So they quickly pulled the clip, but we have it on our channel here. It was but basically there's a neighbor dispute and these people feel a certain way and their neighbors feel another way, and I guess it can't be resolved.
This guy apparently really likes plants and trees,
mm-hmm.
and his neighbors, they're just not a big fan of plants and trees. Apparently,
something along those lines.
That's the short version of it. Is that he's a plant and tree guy, and his neighbors are kind of like, I don't really like your plants and trees, and
they're growing into their property and they're cutting them down, and it's the whole thing. The Horticultural Society from Philadelphia is involved.
Apparently, the neighbor is related to somebody in the township, and then he says that they're racist because I don't like his trees. It was like
you said, it was a half-hour long ordeal. Now, how this goes on and council doesn't shut this down, if you go up there questioning with legitimate hard hitting questions and stuff like that. It's you got your timer. Is the timer up? Okay, I'm sorry, your time's up.
Yeah.
This was just loud to go on and on and on until finally it was just like, okay, let's let the next.
They were like husband and wife. We were gonna like tag team. Like he was gonna take 5 minutes. She was gonna take 5
Oh
minutes.
yeah. That's
and
right.
It went on. The clock ran out, and they still went. And then afterwards, they came back up and they did like a refresher course.
Yeah.
They brought pictures in.
Oh,
It was.
It
was a whole thing. And it never. It didn't get resolved, but yeah. So
we don't have any clips of that, right?
oh,
I hope not, because
that was at least 10 minutes of clip time, and then probably
it was probably 40 minutes worth of real time.
Yeah, we
But
need to
anyway,
get the road mic.
in the
We just go to
middle
their
of
house.
that, we had Patrick Duff, who we had on the show a couple weeks back.
First Amendment guy.
He came on here, and then he went, because of the whole First Amendment thing we were talking about at the beginning of the show. Just to flyer all the cars that were out there. The police were warned. Anytime we have a council meeting, we want you to patrol the parking lot and make sure that people aren't doing things they're not supposed to be doing.
So he emailed.
Right. Exercising our First Amendment is not something we're not supposed to be doing. But you're right. He emailed ahead of time, giving them a warning. Hey, I'm coming. I'm going to be passing out flyers. I'd like to see if your police officers actually arrest me. So he gave them the warning ahead of time and let them know. I do this in other towns, and I sue other towns for violating rights. But if you'd like to do it, be my guest. Right?
Yeah, he gave them the heads up. He let them know that they were coming, and I think we did good. But let's check out Pat's clip here.
Yeah. 5.
Hello and thank you. My name is Patrick Duff. I'm a Haddon Heights resident. I run a website called NewJerseyRabbleRouser.com. I'm a First Amendment activist, and I'm here because a couple people let me know that there was a statement made by Mr. Mercado at the last meeting that basically that people were out in the parking lot putting flyers on cars, and that you were going to ask the police to go out there and stop them from doing so. And it's a constitutionally protected activity. So today I came and made sure I put flyers on all the cars out there, and the police watched us put the flyers. They did not arrest us, thank God. Thank God. But
Thank you for protecting our First Amendment.
yeah, well, I was in Lavalette not long ago. They arrested 2 activists for simply filming a meeting.
Helpful Hutch is there.
And I'm 13-0 against municipalities and government lawsuits. So the one thing I was going to say is that there was a letter sent to the council by a person named Giselle Brown, who the clerk is saying requested basically her address not be provided. But the law states that you must provide senders, receivers, and the subject, and they can't be redacted. So what's interesting about Giselle Brown is that, I'm an investigative journalist, so I wanted to know, well, who's Giselle Brown? Why would the email be redacted? And in all of New Jersey, with the spelling that she has, there is no Giselle Brown. So I don't know if this was an email that was made up. I don't know who the email address is coming from because it's redacted. But I can tell you it's suspicious because the flyer that was put on there and the person's picture is you, Mr. Mercado. And you had mentioned that.
Not Giselle Brown.
No. But what I'm saying is that
Really?
The person seemed offended by the flyer. They said they were frightened, in fact, that there was a flyer left on their car. I can't see how you'd be frightened because of flyers left on your car. I mean, this is what protects us from tyranny. The fact that we can have a two-party system, that we can have free speech, that we can have the ability to, and by the way, I surely appreciate you reading the egos. I've never seen that. And I go to a lot of municipalities, so I appreciate that. You did not read her ego, though. She said she sent it in on time, which is about the situation here. So just want to recommend, you might want to clarify your statement. The officers weren't arresting anybody, thank God, like I said. But trust me, when I came here, I thought I might be arrested. When I went to Lavalette, I made sure I had my camera out. I walked in, and they pretty much know me. A lot of people know me in the municipality communities. And they kind of smiled and laughed and said, "Your seat's right here, Mr. Duff." So they didn't arrest me either. But, listen, it's when things aren't clear and they're ambiguous, and you leave them ambiguous, I recommend you don't do that.
Wow. So, yeah. Orlando is not Giselle Brown, according to him. However, we have not found proof that that's not true. I don't know.
No, I don't think we ever got the unredacted email.
No. So, yeah. So, Patrick Duff stated he's 13-0 against municipalities there. It's for different lawsuits and things like that. And one of the things that he's well versed in, I guess we'll say, is OPA requests. And those OPA requests, there's laws that they need to follow with what can be redacted, what can't be redacted. And he has a history of, like, again, going back into this. If you go into the other podcast with him in there, he'll tell you more about it. But with Stockton University, I believe it was, where he had all sorts of redactions, on his things. Took it to court, and they said, no, that's illegal. You cannot redact this part. You can't redact this. You can't redact this. So he got all unredacted, information. So he has learned from past practices that the email address cannot be redacted. And if you, we can't get into the whole thing here, but the timelines around the requests for it, the emails in stating, I don't want my identity to be known, the address, the whole thing is just, if you ever smelled low tide, that's what it's fishy. It smells very, very fishy, and there's no way around it. And I hope this stuff comes to an end, because I'm just sick and tired of all of this crap that we have to deal with.
I just want a regular council meeting,
Right. I mean, it's a charade all the time, and it's whatever. It's sickening.
Yeah. So so basically, and he mentioned
Giselle Brown doesn't exist.
Well,
in all of New Jersey,
she does. She's our council president.
Okay. He said it's not. So
he says it's not.
Right.
All right. So
okay.
Maybe it's his girlfriend.
Maybe. I
don't know.
The new one or the old one?
Whatever one he probably forced in to send this email.
So, Ray Polidoro, he asks about these missing eGov questions that Pat had brought up here. Like, there are rules around. What's that?
Several people sent eGovs in that didn't make it. Now, the only one that they called
allegedly
was, they said Pete Heinball sent one in, but the cutoff is 12 o'clock. Pete's came in at 12:05.
12:04.
04, yeah.
Well, what's funny about that one is, none of this is funny, but Denise had sent in her eGov at 11:59. I believe she did that intentionally to prove a point. Like, okay, your cutoff is 12. I'm going to send it at 11:59. She sends that in. It doesn't get read. It was then stated that we checked the eGovs at 12:04. Your eGov question was not submitted. Pete Heinball's was at 12:04, but the cutoff is 12 o'clock.
I missed that part.
So anyway, there was a whole scuttlebutt about this whole thing over here, and at the end of the night, Denise Coyne was in the clerk's office, and she's like, listen, if it's an honest mistake, it's an honest mistake. Now, this, again, is after the meeting's over. Nothing can be done at that point in time. The eGov was not read, and Denise wanted it read at that point in time for whatever her reason was. She wanted it read at that point in time. Maybe it was because it was the last council meeting prior to the election. Maybe it was whatever the reason was. It was supposed to have been read at that point in time. So now you have the town solicitor in the clerk's office, the clerk, and I have video footage of all this whole thing. I took footage of it, but Hutchison comes in, and he's saying, look, the cutoff is 12 o'clock. So my point was, it was a choice. It was a choice to not read Pete's eGov. You literally stated in the council meeting, his came in at 12:04. You checked at 12:04. Pete had one in there, and you did not read Pete's eGov. That's a choice. It's no different than if you had the couple that had the tag team with the neighbor that you allowed to go on for 40 minutes or whatever it was of the meeting. That was a choice. You allowed that to happen. Just like you chose to not read Pete's relevant eGov to that point in time. right? I mean, that's a choice made.
What was the cutoff before? The cutoff before was like 5 o'clock, right?
No, it used to be 7 o'clock at night. It was 7:30 meeting. It was 7 o'clock is what it stated on the website. It was 7 o'clock meeting.
Okay.
They started saying it was 5 o'clock. I'm like, well, where did 5 o'clock come from? Because the website says that. And they said, you know what? Noon. That at least gives us time to gather information, which I agree with. You do have to have time for that.
I think you got to have information. I would say, I don't know, 3, 4 o'clock. Noon's a little bit harsh. 3, 4 o'clock maybe.
Whatever it is.
You could always read the eGov and say, we're looking into that. You can definitely do that.
Which they do all the time anyway. Even if they get it at noon, they'll say they're looking into it.
But 12 is hard. But 12:04. I mean, yeah, sure, there's got to be a cutoff. But...
Well, again, that's a choice. You chose not to read it. You had it.
You saw it, had it.
You saw the timestamp and you said, ha-ha, gotcha. 12 o'clock was the cutoff. I'm not reading your email.
Yeah, and was the stamp really 12:04, or was she reading it 12:04?
So, Joe, you did a little schooling to allow, to let people know what to ask for, because all of this is on a server. Whether it got to them or not is still on the server. It still bounces off of that server at a certain point in time when you send it to say, right? This is the timestamp.
Yeah. So I mean, this is my profession. Email. Well, not just email systems, but this stuff in general. I mean, I'm a systems engineer, so
right.
And I specialize in the systems that they use here.
Right.
So they've got their emails on Office 365, their spam filter, which everything goes in through and archives through a system called Mimecast. Mimecast is fantastic with its archiving abilities, and so I immediately saw that they were on Mimecast, and I'm like, oh, I can just ask for a Mimecast export.
Right, a log.
And I was during work, and I was like, I went into our Mimecast system. I'm like, let me see if I can export this real quick before I make this request. So then I went in and I made this request. I want all email. I want the email logs sent to the following addresses, like clerk, Nancy Powers.
Right.
For this day, I want it all, knowing that it's going to show the timestamps when everything came in.
Right.
What came in, and then what time it came in. And I made that request on October 23rd, and it is it's November 5th now, and
you have not received that yet.
I never got a response at all, so I forgot about it. So I will have to follow up on that to find out what it is,
but see, this is the kind of stuff that I don't believe that they're used to, like technology working against.
No,
you know what I mean? It's very easy to say, I never got that. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Let's find out why you didn't get this, or if you actually did get this.
You used to be able to say, I don't know, there was a glitch. There's no glitch.
There should not be a glitch at $7,000 a month at this point in time.
Well, there just are no glitches. Where the glitches end when you get into the logs.
Right.
And you can find when it comes to email, sending or receiving, I have to track emails all the time.
Yeah.
And there are no glitches. There is always an explanation. And that's what I was looking for.
But unfortunately for the people that sent them in with a reason to be read at that particular council meeting, they can't get that time back. All you can do is just prove either you lied or this was the issue, but you can't get the time back. And so what do you do as a citizen, as a resident? You can't do anything. We have no recourse, and this is the problem with the entire system.
I think this is also too why we need a broader spectrum of people up there,
right,
from different backgrounds that can specialize in different things and have different knowledge in things. And I don't think that the people out there really have a whole lot of knowledge in much really.
No, I'm going to refrain from saying anything further. But so Denise Coyne, which was one of the people that sent them in, had a clip on clip 8 here, questioning us.
Denise Coyne, Choose Landing. I spoke to Nancy earlier, and she told me she did get my eGov, so I'm wondering why it wasn't read.
Ms. Coyne, I only read what is provided to me. If it's not here, I can't read it. If it's
Well,
not
can somebody tell me what happened to it?
I don't know, Ms. Coyne. Nancy, did you receive the e-gov?
What was the e-gov in reference to?
It was in reference to the First Amendment violation. And when I spoke to you, you said you got it.
I didn't speak to you about anything about an e-gov. I spoke to you about the Giselle Brown Oprah request. Nothing about I have all of your emails here, as a matter of fact.
I thought you told me I got your e-gov and it'll be read.
No.
I could have sworn that's what you told me, but I spoke to you this
I
afternoon.
actually returned your.
I sent it in at 11:50 something.
We checked all of the e-govs at 12:04.
I got it said, your email has been confirmed as being sent, or whatever it says. And Ira sent one in, and I think Pete Heimbaugh sent one in. So, I mean, what good is this?
Heimbaugh came in at 12:04.
Okay, well, mine was definitely sent before 12.
I read everything that comes in, so.
Okay, so
There's nothing to hide.
what good is this system if it doesn't work?
Yeah, so there you go. See, the clerk says 12:04. She checked the emails.
And Orlando
jumps in and tells her, "Yep,
I also saw it.
His came in at 12:04." So that right there is telling you, I roll this thing. You little peasants, you got it in late. I am not reading that. Screw you. That's basically what he said, right?
Yeah. You know,
It's sickening. I'm so over it.
Say no to Mercado.
Yeah, right.
All right, and then the last final thing was, I don't know how this come up.
I don't know, but it's been brought up several times.
So the thing, this came up because
because of Giselle Brown feeling uncomfortable.
Giselle Brown felt uncomfortable, and then Ray Paldoro suggests, hey, maybe this is an uncomfortable situation. You know, you walk into the council meeting, you got to go through metal detectors to get in here. And then you get inside, it's generally a hostile environment anyway. So maybe these metal detectors are not providing.
Right, they're not providing comfort. You're sending people through metal detectors. They come in here, they watch you berate citizens, and like why? You can literally on any day of the week just walk into the mayor's office without a metal detector.
Yeah.
But then if you take the flip side of it, she literally was at a police ceremony.
Yeah.
I don't think you could be in a more safe place with that many weapons held by police officers, and she didn't feel safe. I mean, come on. I'm going to get myself in trouble saying anything.
Let's check out the clip.
We have metal detectors only at council meetings. Planning board, zoning board, you can walk into the mayor's office, you can walk into Tom's office, but only when you come to council meetings. Can you tell me what it is you're in fear of, why you have those metal detectors only at a council meeting? Whatever happened that was initiated, is the fear gone now? Maybe that lady was a little nervous walking in to this council meeting with metal detectors where she never had to do that before.
Oh, that came about, and that was a recommendation from the former chief, Harry Earl, who Gabby Gifford was shot.
Okay, and I can understand that.
A congresswoman was shot.
Mhm.
There have been individuals that have been escorted from council chambers here during heated meetings that indicated that perhaps we need some protection up here.
Do you still feel that need?
I think everyone should feel safe coming onto the property of Gloucester Township, whether it's in the parking lot or here in council chambers. And that individual had indicated that they did not feel safe here. Now, Ray, you champion everyone's causes. Maybe that cause struck a nerve with you. But that person sent an email, they said they didn't feel safe here. And I said, okay, let's address it.
Oh, okay. So that's
Resolution 23.
Wait.
What? But yeah, so it's okay to violate your First Amendment rights because someone. What is that?
Someone didn't feel safe.
Yeah, someone didn't feel safe.
I don't know. There's some kind of thing. We'll have to talk about this in the next podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that topic's been brought up several times. Where does the metal detectors come from? Why is it only council meetings? Who is not important enough on planning or zoning board to not necessitate having a metal detector, but is required at a council meeting, but it's not during a normal course of business. It's a whole, I don't know.
It's
There's a little bit of narcissism.
we
I
gotta
feel like a little bit being used there.
El Mercado.
Anyway, that was pretty much it for the
That's
council
it.
meeting here.
Yeah, that's it for that council meeting. Happened a long time ago, I feel like now.
I know. It's like a
The next one is the next one next week?
I don't even know.
Because, yeah.
The next time there is one, we will recap it for you guys. And in the meantime, we're probably going to do another podcast with talking about what happens on...
I guess it's on the 13th. Yeah, it's going to be on the 13th.
2nd and 4th?
Yeah, it'll be the 13th. So November 13th.
Okay.
After Election Day.
After Election Day, yep.
That's going to be a different one.
Yeah.
That's going to be a different kind of podcast, probably.
Maybe.
But,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you guys.
Yeah. See you guys
soon.
after the 13th. And keep an eye out for the Inside GT Talk podcast.
Where we talk about what's going on social media.
Yeah, social media stuff. See you, folks.
All right, see ya.